Hey all. So I've been really big into playing Outriders right now, and I have spent a lot of time, several hours, playing on my Pyro build. And one of the things that I have worked really hard to get on that build because I'm running this single player, and I'm running the world tiers consecutively. So as the world tier goes up, I'm jumping up into that next world tier, which increases the level of difficulty. Right now, I think I'm on 7. I'm on world tier 7 with a level 20 or 21 character. Anyway, so I saw today that Outriders or People Can Fly has just dumped a news update up, a launch dev news update. And my biggest problem right now, and I am not alone on this one, is they decided to start rebalancing the characters. So they decided to rebalance the game already. This game dropped on April 1st. So, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eight. So, 8 days. A little over 1 week. And for the first 2 to 3 days, most people couldn't play because the servers kept crashing and dropping. I couldn't get in. I could not get in to play, and I actually didn't have a chance to log in and play because I was busy doing something else until what was it? Saturday. Saturday was, I think, was the first time I actually had a chance to go in there and actually log in, and they still hadn't fixed the fucking servers by then. So, I was very adamant on Twitter when I went through this because day one I expect bugs. I expect shit to go wrong, especially on a server-based game, which kind of like Destiny, but it's frustrating because I couldn't get in to play the character that I wanted to play, and when I freaking got in, everything was something was wrong with the with the graphics. Something was wrong. I'll get to the dev information in just a minute, but this was my experience going in. Is that it took me like 2 hours? I think it was like 2 hours to get in, and I was just sitting there on the Connect screen and just waiting for it. It kept rebooting and rebooting and rebooting and rebooting, which is a stupid thing to do. It should stop and say reconnect, and then you should have a button that says reconnect or retry and keep going again, not keep doing a menu reset. Is stupid. Anyway, the graphics were blurry and weird and nothing looked right. The demo was clear and clean. It impressed me with the level of quality this is of the game. I mean, they were really working with that Frostbite engine, making it really good. And then I get in there and it's shit. It's like somebody smeared grease or everything all over my screen. I mean, things were faded in, and it was blurry. Long distance images were blurry. The frame rates were bad. The intro movie was like judder, stutter, stutter, play, stutter, stutter, stutter. It was really bad. And it took me a while to figure out what the fucking problem was, and it was that I was running on DirectX 12. They haven't got the bugs figured out of DirectX 12. I'm running a 2060S graphics card right now, and I definitely have a decent processor, a 10850K right now, 16 gigs of RAM, and I'm running off of an M.2 SSD. So, it's 970 Evo. I have the capability. I am perfectly capable of running this game, especially on the demo. I was able to maintain between 60 and 80 FPS on some levels, and I never really dropped below 45. But it was bad. So I had to drop back out and go back level to DirectX 11 to at least get some of the jitteriness out of it, and that worked. But my graphics took a plummet because of it. Not that they were great to start with. I don't know what the hell changed between the demo and this, but it feels like, and this is just me, it feels like somebody went and took the graphics knob and said, okay, well, we're not in the demo anymore. Let's turn it down a little bit. I think that's what they did, because I'm playing on everything on ultra, 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 ultra. And I tried different settings. I tried switching some of the post-processing effects. I tried dealing with DLSS, because I have an RTX graphics cards. I can deal with that. And it didn't work. It didn't make anything better. I was frustrating. Anyway, but I said, fuck it, and I played. So I was really getting into it again. I mean, graphics are not a huge part of my playing experience. It really helps. But it is not the entirety if the gameplay is good. So basically, I played as a pyro. My build was, for at the beginning, was basically running sniper. Was a sniper and assault rifle. I was running those right there, and I was using the sniper more than anything else because the damage output was kind of low, and since pyro's a medium range, I wanted to pick them off before they got too close, because a lot of those melee enemies get really up close and personal, and I wanted to make sure that I could pop their heads like a cherry before they got too close. So I got really good with the sniper. When I finally leveled up and I got the volcanic rounds, that shit changed. So after a while, I found, okay, well, I need a massive clip to make the most amount of this stuff, so I switched over to the machine gun. When I switched over to the machine gun, then I could just lay waste, because what was the thing about the volcanic rounds is that even if you don't hit somebody, if you're in proximity, it lights them on fire. So all I did was a spray and pray effect, and I lit the whole battleground on fire. I mean, for the most part, it didn't do much other than, it did a lot of burning effects. And so what really mattered is at that point is that you made sure that you had to focus your fire in order for those effects to make it worthwhile, because the actual killing effect from the fire took I don't know, maybe 20-30 seconds depending on the health of the enemy, and depending on how much health they had, it may not have actually taken the enemy down. So sniper for long range, and then when I couldn't keep up with the enemies and they were going too fast and they weren't hiding anymore, and I was getting a lot more up close and personal with the fighters, flipped over to the machine gun and then made most of those rounds. Then I switched over to I got the mod for the spare clip. So you had 2 clips. So I had 200 rounds of of the volcanic ammo to play with. It really worked out well for me. So I'm really passionate about this, and I found ways to get around the reset procedure, because there's like a 16-second, or you can get it reduced with mods, but around 16 seconds for the volcanic rounds to reset the powers, because you got 200 rounds, and then that was it. Then it stopped, and then you were back to regular ammo. And you could definitely notice a difference in the takedown ability with regular ammo versus the volcanic rounds. So it always remained in my power bar because of how effective it was. Then I found that you could go up close to that when you were transitioning to another area or something, that if, say, you were at the bare end of the second clip, and you still had it activated, you could go ahead and open that. It would hit the cutscene and it immediately reset your volcanic rounds to be good to go. And I found out later you could actually do it if your volcanic rounds was still in cooldown, because it reset it for the next area. Very, very, very helpful. Did find out that doing ammo resupply automatically took out your volcanic rounds. So if you went and resupplied your ammo and you had activated it, it automatically put it into cooldown, which sucked, because it doesn't really matter, because volcanic rounds actually don't use your own ammo, which is good, because then you always have your full round clip if you've resupplied. When you're when your volcanic rounds run out. So I found ways to continue to maximize that bullet build. And then I went with I found the mod. So I found that there was a mod out there that you could use that when your clip got below 30% and you killed an enemy, it would reset your clip. So now I could run through almost an entire level spraying and praying with volcanic rounds. And I mean, that was incredible. So that was, it resets when you change, the volcanic rounds reset when you change, when you transition to a new area. They go away if you try and resupply. But if you have the mod for the spare clip and you have the mod for the 30%, for the 30% restock or resupply, if you kill an enemy when you have 30% or less left in your clip, you can just keep going and going and going and going. If you plan your kills out and you always make sure that you got some cannon fodder there around your boss, and you know, like, okay, you keep an eye on your build. All right, let me go shoot this guy real quick with less than 30 rounds or 45 rounds or whatever your 30% mark is. Kills that guy, reset your clip, and you're back in business. So very, 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 very helpful tool, especially being single player. I needed every freaking advantage I could get, and I was crafting every 5 seconds. Every time I had a new weapon or a new gun, I went through it. I didn't bother selling any of it because the sell prices were ridiculously low. I mean, what the? This is a freaking legendary gun, and you give me like 200 scrap. I got more out of the crafting materials than I did out of selling it. And you go to buy stuff, and it's ridiculously expensive. I mean, that's where they should have focused on, is that the buy-sell values are ridiculously poor. There's no reason to sell your weapons or sell your armor. Crafting generates more because you can actually sell some of the materials that you generate from that and actually make money. So it doesn't... Don't sell your weapons. Don't sell your guns. Stock up on them. Find the ones that you like, and then strip all the others. Deconstruct all the other ones that you don't want, and don't stay too locked into one weapon or one set of armor or something like that. I did that early on, and I hurt myself because of that. Don't. And I suggest this in early gameplay, do not go to a legendary status, do not upgrade to a legendary status on your weapon or your armor unless you have the titanium available to continue to upgrade it. Because as long as it's a rare item, it's either a unusual or a rare item, you can continue to upgrade the item if it's armor with leather, or with a weapon with metal or iron. You can continue to upgrade it with that. The minute you go to a legendary status on a weapon, you get that second mod on there. Now everything has to be upgraded with titanium, and titanium drops are rare as fuck. They are rare, and it takes 50 titanium to generate a legendary. Okay? And because of how slow the titanium drops are in the game, because it takes 16 titanium usually on a higher level weapon. Again, I'm probably about third of the way through the game, halfway through the game more or less. That weapon is going to fall behind very, very quickly, very, very quickly. So I suggest you don't tie yourself to a legendary weapon unless you're able to procure the titanium in order to continue keeping it upgraded. Otherwise, it's a waste. I suggest sticking with the blue, sticking and upgrading it until you're in the rare category. All right, because you can find leather and iron everywhere, and that way you can continue to progress. And this may be different for people who are playing co-op, but for single player, this was my method and it worked. So always be swapping out your armor. But you've got to keep an eye on what your build is supposed to be. Do you want Are you looking for a real tank build, in which case you want to really emphasize armor and healing capabilities? You want a damage build, in which case you're going to focus less on that and more on, say, uh, short range firepower, short range damage, long range damage buffs, and less on maybe the skill and the weapon leeches, if you want to do that. The mods are very, very helpful. I'm actually surprised about the power of some of these mods, and I would not be surprised if they got nerfed later on, just because of the way you can combine some of them. You can make some really devastating builds. So I probably need to drop a list or something of the way in order to maintain your volcanic rounds consistently through a battle, and it has saved my ass more than once. Other people may have other builds that may work better, but I'm pretty sure this will also apply to any of the other ammo modifications in the other classes. I'm pretty sure this is going to work the same way. So make sure that you have that 30% mod on there. I can't remember the name of it. The names are kind of hard to, they really don't kind of match up with what's the mod actually does, so it's hard for me to retain the name. But basically, you look for it, and it's going to be probably towards early third of the game. You'll start seeing that mod present itself, and it's a stage. It's a tier 2. Yeah, it's a tier 2. It's a tier 2 mod, so it is only, so you're going to be putting that. You're going to be finding that mostly on blue. You're going to find those on rare weapons more than you'll find anything else. And you want to find that one, the 30%, and then you also want to find any ammo mods that you can get on there, such as the second clip mod for the volcanic rounds is very helpful if you do not have that tier 2 30%, that 30% clip refill, because you're going to be running through rounds. I highly suggest that you either go with a high damage weapon that you're really good at with a smaller clip, because most of the smaller clips, I think submachine guns and everything, they're low clips, like 60 or 50, 60, some are 40. I really, unless you're really, 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 really good with a sniper rifle and you have a decent clip size on it, I really wouldn't recommend doing that ammo mod with a sniper rifle, because if you spec your sniper rifle right, you should be doing nothing but headshots and popping heads. If you're going through and you're having to use volcanic rounds in order to take down somebody and who's not a boss and it's just cannon fodder, your sniper rifle isn't leveled up properly. It just isn't. But the machine gun is the best option if you want to have the longest effect with the volcanic rounds, because you're gonna have the largest clip available. If you go for the suppressing machine gun option, it lowers your damage, but it increases your clip size. So I think right now I'm running on one with 150 rounds in it. So if I didn't have the tier 2 30% refill, but I had the second clip option, which actually drops fairly early in the game, you can use that and you'll get 300 rounds. And when you got 300 rounds at point blank range, dealing with a boss, you will use every damn one of those rounds. So I also spec'd my build for weapon and skill leech. So because my armor, trying to find weapons and trying to keep the armor high enough is a difficulty for me, because I can't find the armor that's high enough, and I'm also single player, the drops aren't as good. So what I do is I put on the skill leech and the weapon leeches. I try and cobble those together, especially if you put the weapon leech and you put the weapon leech on the machine gun, because every single round that hits can, I think I have mine spec'd at 9%. 9% of that person's life is returned. It's 9% of your life or 9% of theirs. I think it's 9% of your life is returned to you with every damn hit. Okay? The machine gun, volcanic rounds, and weapon leech will keep you alive in some of the worst boss battles. It is imperative, especially including in the mob battles, and which you got some of the mid tier bosses, but you have a lot of the cannon fodder coming at you from all sides. That stuff will take them down and it will keep you alive. You could be at the finish bar of health right there, and then you just keep pounding away into that boss, and every single hit is returning life to you. Every single bullet. So that is a very powerful build. At least for me. Okay, this is my personal impression, and this is how I've played the game so far, and it has really made a difference. Switching to this method. I also do keep in the in my power bar down at the bottom. Oh, why do they make these names so difficult to remember? But it is the life leech, power for the pyro, which you can reach out and touch someone and suck their life and immobilize them for a few seconds, depending on their level, whether they're a boss or a cannon fodder. You can reach out and suck their life out. Very, very, very helpful when you're at your last ditch. You're not able to leech enough life out of somebody with your machine gun, and this guy is just whopping you to death, and then all of a sudden you can just grab him, immobilize him. I think with bosses, depending on the level of boss, it can be like for 2 or 3 seconds, and some of the cannon fodder up to like 5 or 6 seconds. And then you suck their life, and then you just open up, you just turn their face into into cheesecloth, just sitting there point blank range, just at their doing nothing but headshots with the machine gun. That saves your ass. There's another mod out there that increases the range of that by 100%. Get that. As a single player, you need that, because it does longer range damage. It doesn't do a lot of damage. Okay? So don't expect to be... You can't spam it. I think it's also on a 16-second cooldown. But if you're able to balance where your volcanic rounds are and where your skill and where your power leech is, your life leech is, and you have this one drop, and then you have your life leech come in while you're pounding away at this guy, you can just go in there and life leech him, immobilize him for a few seconds, run away, let your volcanic rounds reset, bring it back up, and start pounding away again. So that's how you do it. And especially with bosses, you gotta kite your ass. You gotta kite. So you see him coming at you, start tumbling, man. Start tumbling out of his way. Fortunately, they do a pretty good job of telegraphing where the AoE and the short range attacks are going to land. Watch out for those. Do not get in that range. Always try and work your way out of it. So that is my build, and the reason I explained it this way is because I wanted to explain how bad this is right here. Bullet abilities. We fully intend to provide the overpowered feel for the best builds out there. We are also committed to making sure that there's build diversity in the top performing builds. Committed to making sure there is build diversity. Why can't you just let people build the way they want to build it? Who cares if somebody does strictly a bullet build and the other ones are shit? why don't you find a way to make the other builds maybe more appealing, maybe more have put out more damage, so that people will start doing diversity. Don't just nerf the other class and make the one thing that is really good about these classes obsolete. This is not smart, and it's more to the point that this was not an analyzed decision. It doesn't appear to be an analyzed decision. Usually when you start nerfing things, it happens over like a month. You're like a month of analyzing the data, seeing what people are doing, how the builds are coming out. And because this is a server-based game, I'm pretty sure they have all that data. They need to give it time for actual other builds and creativity to come in, because some people may not have figured out that other build yet. They may be trying to build it that way and they haven't quite got the tuning right, and then people find out that that's a good build, and then boom, we go off with another one. So this is too fast, too soon, and it's not a smart move on this team's, this developer's part. You need to give it time. If after all the analyzation and you shared it with us about what's going on, as far as this is the data, this is what we're seeing, and in order to balance the game, which again, the whole premises of this game is you're overpowered. You're seriously overpowered. That's the premise of the fucking game. Okay, so setting that to side, if you want to balance a PvE game, balance for who? How are you balancing a game that's PvE? How are you balancing it? Because when I see balancing, I see balancing between enemy and player. Who gives a fuck about the enemy in the game? Who gives about the antagonist? Who gives a fuck if they get killed quicker? How is that a bad thing? If this was PvP, God, yeah, you're gonna have people out there who are gonna be bitching pissed if your build is if one particular build is way more OP than another one, and you're going at it on the battlefield. Yeah, there's probably something to complain about there, but this is PvE, not PvP. This is co-op. We do not care about the enemy's feelings. If we take them down faster with this one specific build, who gives a fuck? Apparently they do. They want diversity in their builds. So if you want to actually develop diversity, hold up, analyze more of the data, listen to the player base, not your streamers. Listen to your player base, and then modify the game. Okay? Doing it within a week is too damn fast. Too damn fast. I don't know why. Are you scared of something? Because that's a knee-jerk reaction. Man, I'm going on and on and on and on. I'm passionate about this. I spent too much time in this game. I wanted to play this game. I was waiting on this game. I was fucking pissed at the damn server issues. I finally get to play the game, and then they nerf it. Breathe. Anyway, I am not alone in this sentiment. So before you get, thinking that I'm just a stupid ranter who's going on and on about, oh, my build is now no longer worth it because this game got balanced. For one, fuck you. And two, you want to take a look at all of these replies on Twitter alone. I don't even want to look at the Steam page. If I look at the Steam page, that thing is going to be 20, 30, 40 pages long by now, if not more, of people pissed at this change. I mean, look at this. A lot of people are more pissed about the legendary stuff. I'm more interested in the story, so progressing in the story is more important. So killing enemies faster makes the story progress sooner, maybe? That's my perspective. Legendary drops is something I was going to do on a secondary playing through. You know, like really get in depth in all the side stories and all of that. But yeah. So, legendary reward for doing hunts and bounties is a poor choice. It's 10 quests. And I guarantee legendary for time investment of an hour doesn't seem unreasonable. You're spending an hour grinding? Who the fuck cares if they get a legendary drop? Why? I don't get this. I have no freaking clue why they're doing it this way. It makes no sense. For some reason, they think they know what they're doing. Yeah, so this is exactly what he said. So Outriders replied, there was an exploit whereby users were abusing this system to generate multiple legendaries in a very short amount of time. Who gives a shit if they get them fast? This is a PvE power fantasy game. Yes, it is. Nerfing things without buffing anything is piss poor logic. Yes, it is. You made us weaker while making the world harder. Yes, you did. Stop listening to only streamers. They are going to ruin your game. Yes, they are. As a single player and someone who hasn't even obtained my first legendary, I actually didn't get my first legendary until... Oh my god. Towards the end of the forest sequence, which is... I don't even want to guess how many hours I had in that playthrough to get to that point. It was a lot. So, yeah, legendary drops are very rare. You guys just made me feel way more unenthusiastic about getting done those beast and bounty quests done, knowing that my chances for getting a nice legendary payoff aren't happening. So Outriders reply, and this is piss poor in my opinion, the changes only apply to subsequent playthroughs. Oh, great. So now playing another character is more enticing? Less enticing? Because fuck this. And then there's still a lot of discussion about the crossplay incident, which is already fucking bad. Just bad. So there are some people who are supporting the first update. There's going to be a few of them. And they're not a lot. Granted, Twitter is a garbage factory, so a lot of people spew garbage on here. But I'm betting dollars to donuts. See, I love it. They've gone the YouTube route. Oh, we're not going to show you the dislikes. We're just going to show you the upvotes. Yeah. It's a developer post. They don't want to scare off these developers. They make money. Let's see what the discussion looks like. 823 posts. Don't worry me again. I'm fucking over 18. I can curse with the best of them. 840. Thanks for nerfing everything. Why the F did you lower the timers? Why? Some class builds are already struggling as it is. What's the point in gutting them even more? Why don't you buff other builds to make them viable instead of some lazy nerfs? That is true. True balancing means looking at all aspects. Every build, taking time to analyze why some builds aren't being used, rather than going through and kneecapping builds that are working. It takes time to generate that kind of data. It takes time to analyze it and craft a solution that benefits your players. But these guys want to go right for the kill and just say, okay, nerf it. That is poor development. Very poor. And I've played a lot of games in my life, okay? I'm a very avid PC gamer. I've been playing games back when Carmen Sandiego was still a damn thing. And I was on Windows 95. I've been on a lot of games, and I know when this is shit. This is shit. Holy crap, you guys have to be trolling with the nerfs. Are you really going to do your player base like that? Yeah, I'm assuming it's a fucking PvE game. Well, back to Path of Exile. Do you know I was actually playing Horizon Zero Dawn while I was waiting for Outriders, and I was thoroughly enjoying it? And the graphics are a lot better. And it's a 2017 PC, Xbox port. It's better. Anyway, just whispering there. I didn't mention anything. Nerfing is not the way to go. Rounds are performing exactly as well as I expected them to. The others fall short for the most part. Buffs, not nerfs. See, man, it's kind of hard to explain because you're this is how I see it. Okay, so you have one build that's here and you have one build that's here. Okay, so the knee-jerk reaction is to cut this build down in order to make these level. How does that help this build? Really, how does this help it? Because it's still going to be in the exact same position it was before. People aren't going to want to play it. Now they're not going to want to play this one either. So you made it more terrible all around. Okay? You brought it down. All right? Instead of looking at the build that was down here and saying, what can we do to actually balance this so it makes it a viable build? Okay, do it. Okay, now we're at the same point. Okay? That's why you want to build up. You don't want to tear down. Okay? That's how you want to level. All right? That is my personal opinion, and apparently I'm not the only one who thinks that way. Thanks. However, without a hotfix, I won't be able to play your game for another week. Oh my god. Xbox and PlayStation. People are very salty. Very salty. PC gamers are very salty right now. This was a very bad thing to do, especially after your giant server debacle. This was your solution? Oh, they're getting salty. All right. Well, let's just go dump them in the Dead Sea. Let's see if that makes it any better. Because that's what they did. Let's just cut them a little more and throw some more salt in there. This is not making me love this game very much. Eventually, I'm going to go into detail about some of the things that I do not like about this game. There are a lot of things I like, but there's some things I do not like, and that should have been the focus of this patch because it actually fixes bugs. Balancing is not a bug. It's not. That is a quality of life improvement. Quality of life improvements are later in the game. You should be focused right now on fixing the problems that make your game unplayable for people. The consensus among the player base is to not require us to be online to play single player. This is true. The database player profile could be moved local in this case, thereby cutting the cost and necessity of servers used to store and access this information. So, right here, this is something that came up with the server issue. A lot of people were very unhappy that this was a server-based game. There are a lot of server-based single-player and co-op games. There are. But this is not a great implementation of it, especially when you cannot even log on to the server to play the $60 game you bought and or pre-ordered. I don't pre-order games anymore. Fucking Cyberpunk 2077 burned me for the last time. That was the last time I ever... there was one other game that I pre-ordered before that, and that one also burned me well, and I think that was Mass Effect 3. I pre-ordered that game, and the ending burned me. So, I tried with Cyberpunk, and I got burned again, so... Fuck you. My fingers are all calloused now from typing in my credit card digits for pre-orders. I'm not doing it anymore. Not happening. Zero. Screw you. Pre-ordering makes no sense with digital copies anyway. It makes no sense. You're gonna get it the same day. The only thing you're gonna get in addition is maybe some cool loot packs or something like that, which who gives a fuck about? Don't pre-order games. It's dumb. All right, then we have one of the people who think that they are right. They are not. I am not being fair about this, okay? Right now, I don't think they're right, and I'm not afraid to call them out about it. Uprising of the Crybabies. You guys think it's good to easily beat the highest possible content within a week? Who cares? They paid $60 for a game to do what? Right. Have fun and beat it. So who gives a damn if they beat it within a week? Did they get their $60 worth out of it? If they did and they're not complaining, why do you care? Really is a shame the route you are taking. My shotgun trickster didn't have anywhere near 100% uptime on Twisted, and it really depended on it not to run out of ammo because of the whole 60 rounds I get with the auto shotgun. Yeah, that is a... You know how long it's going to take to kill elites now. Damage is so low outside of rounds. Lowering timers is also a mistake. It's not like you get rained with legendaries if you 3-star it. So, there are a few guns that I don't like. The auto shotgun is one of them. I find it... what's the best way to put it? It doesn't give you the power of a shotgun, but doesn't give you the automatic capability of an assault rifle or a submachine gun. It's a compromised weapon that, in this instance, I think he means that he can put more rounds out quicker, and it makes sense if he has, again, I have not played a trickster build. I did a 1, but it was only in the demo, so I didn't get very far in some of the other stuff, so I didn't even get up to the rounds that were available for that class. But there's got to be a particular reason why he chose that build, but I already know for a fact, playing with the auto shotty, that its damage is underwhelming, to say the least, for that kind of... you would expect a nerf a little bit, because most auto shotguns, they are nerfed in many games, and mainly because, A, you don't want to have one of the most powerful weapons in the game, aka the shotgun, now in an automatic form, which means you now have buffed a weapon. Everybody's going to go for the auto shotgun, so they nerf the damage on the auto shotgun. And you can kind of explain it with the fact that some of the gases used to shoot the bolt back and load the next round are lost in the process. So there's some excuses for it, but anyway. This right here, people aren't happy with this. I'm not happy with this. This is stupid. Oh my god. I'll add my voice to those not liking the nerfs. Those of us who are taking the game at a relaxed pace, me, and also those that couldn't play for any reason, will now have a hard time both at getting rewards and also completing expeditions. I wonder if you did consider if the fact that some content was cleared easier was not due to the content itself or the skills. What was I saying earlier? But because people are being overgeared. If that's the case, you might have just killed the fun for the rest of us by nerfing it all at the same time. I'll see how it performs once the patch is deployed, but this part of the notes didn't look good at all. This is just the first page. There's 57, and I'm pretty sure it's growing at a rapid rate. So there was, 847 comments? Now there's 856. I've been on this page for 10 minutes? No, less than that. I don't think it's been 10 minutes. So, personally, I would have just buffed Devastator to be able to compete with Trickster and Techno instead of nerfing anything. Devastator is actually a shitty class. I played it in the demo, and it is a terrible class. You're not a good tank. You put out next to no damage, and your powers are underpowered. I don't know what they were planning with that thing. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be the tank build, and you expect lower damage output with a tank, but more tankiness. The Devastator is no. You can only have so much tank before not having enough damage can compensate for it, because you still have to progress through the game. Granted, I've ran tank builds before in other games like WoW and things like that, and running a true tank build, leveling up by yourself single player, is very, very difficult. That's why you don't see a lot of tanks out there. You see more damage and damage and healing. Damage mostly. It's probably damage, healing, than tank. Or it could be the other way. But anyway, it's not a very popular class to take, just because it's more difficult to progress, because your damage output is usually pretty low. Plus, the tank class is an up close and personal class. Yeah, you have to be up close and personal with that one, which is kind of the point of a tank. But that being said, if you can't do the damage to hold the attention of the enemy, the purpose of a tank, then you're a shit tank. Let's see. It's already struggling, but there's still some potential to have fun. Now with this update, my friends keep crashing every time we queue together. Yeah, that is a problem. Every time you get Xbox and console players together with PC gamers, after a few minutes, it crashes the server. I ain't kidding. So they killed crossplay as part of open invites. I think when you have your game state in an open, so people can join or leave if they want. But you can still have like a friends based and invite friends in. If you invite friends that are console players in and you try and do it, the server crashes and they get kicked out. Oh wow, 25 minutes. No, this is a response to that other guy's the guy who was supporting the the good things about this patch. No, I would think that after 74 hours of gameplay, I wouldn't have to wait weeks to get gear back. Actually, I need to check to see where I am as far as hours for Outriders. Oh, shit. I didn't mean to launch the game. Fuck. I mean, I wanted to play the game, but now I'm kind of like busy doing this. So... Oh, shit. Shit. Okay, Alt F4 always works. Anyway, I clicked everything wrong. Man, I wish I was streaming. Streaming is a lot more fun. Where's my library? Where's my hours? Okay, so you can see on mine, I have 16.9 hours. Okay, so not a lot. This is for me is probably about 2 or 3 days worth of playtime. Again, I'm taking this more as a relaxed pace. I got other shit going on, so this game is more of something I just want to do. I'm not, trying to. I don't know what I'm not super intense on this game. I am intense about the way the devs are handling the game. But as far as actually the playing of the game, I'm taking a more relaxed approach, because A, I have a life outside of computers, and B, I don't want to get burned out on a game. All right. You guys need to improve the cover system. As it is, it's close to useless. Also do some proper bosses for your game and not those crappy in-game encounters. Seriously, 3 times Yagak. Oh, okay, I guess this is something I haven't reached yet. So if I read between the lines, Devastator sucks as intended. Sure glad the in-game doesn't require a pure DPS speed run. Oh man, I don't want to get too much in the... Oh, people aren't liking the in-game very much. Holy shit. Don't feel bad. They weren't expecting us to be such awesome players. And highlight their glaring lack of content. How many times you shot those little red buggers over and over? Look at the Monster Hunter's wall after completing it and notice something similar. Also in the in-game credits, must have been no less than 40 QA staff. Sleeping on the job, I suspect. Damn. We're salty. We're Dead Sea level salty here about this shit. Oh my god. I pre-ordered this game 5 months ago and didn't refund when I found out it was coming to Game Pass, as I hoped you would make the game better. I pre-ordered this game 5 months ago and didn't refund when I found out it was coming to Game Pass, as I hoped you would make the game better. You guys obviously don't play this on Xbox. We can't take nerfs or it's unplayable. Doing a T14, World Tier 14, at level 49 on gold is nearly impossible. Get to Expedition T15 on Xbox, then talk about whether or not nerfing is an option. Don't lump and say with early access streamers. This is absolutely a stupid move, and it will hurt the game. Can't hurt a game if the game doesn't exist soon. Oh my god. Oh, jeez. There's another. Wow. It already went up again. 9 minutes ago. Sadly, this doesn't really address any of the balancing I was expecting and will appear to make this already bullet spongy targets even more spongy. As for getting better gear, legendary things barely drop on World Tier 15 as it is. Really? The fuck? I think I've only had maybe like 2 legendary weapons? Two legendary gear. I think one was a weapon and one was an armor drop. In turn, lowering the times to complete things on expeditions just bites completely. I don't play with anyone else, so making the gold level rewards even harder to get is just a kick in the clusters. Trying to solo anything in an expedition with more than a couple tiers is just not feasible now, let alone with an even lower limit. I've been gaming for 37 of my 42 years. Congrats, man. And I'm not a stranger to things being difficult. Atari or Contra without the cheat code. Oh, that's before my time. But with all the nerfs and balances I've seen in my time, making things require more bullets is just a terrible idea. You know, throughout the game, they keep talking about, oh, there's a bullet shortage. We don't have enough ammunition. There seems to be an infinite supply of stashes around, you know? That always seem to have an infinite supply of ammo within them. Anyway, you know. Got their money, now to kill the game. Oof. Stability issues have been my only concern. It's great that there have been major successes with this already, along with further plans you are making. Glad to hear the real cause was not poor planning. Rebalancing the skills must take place to counter the meta gameplay. I noticed in all other nameless games I have played over the past 2 decades, meta makes a stagnant game. If you, the player, does not know of the meta, you are passed over or chastised regardless of your aptitude for the task at hand. With these types of games that that have, I'm assuming, multiple systems that can create a unique styles of play. Meta will form to a precise way of play, and then this meta becomes a crutch to the player base without them even realizing. Most cry the foam brand toy gun of NERF. Since that is a toy and a video game is a toy, then nothing has changed. If these changes are indeed to correct for the algorithms that do not behave correctly at these high values, I am for it, just as I am for shaking up the meta. The only thing I disagree with is the time limit changes. Though I have not played these expeditions, I do not know how easy they are to get gold rating. Apparently, it's pretty difficult. Do as you see best, people can fly, and these real fanatics of the game will persist for longer than it takes for the next big looter shooter to appear. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna go into my I like the looter shooter aspect of this game. I do enjoy it. I think that there is a lot of fun to be had. I do enjoy playing this game. Caveat. I am disappointed in the story. Well, not disappointed in as much as it seems like scenes are missing. Like parts of the story are not there. Like one cutscene, you have a cutscene, and it's like somebody went in and did a jump cut from one scene to another. The demo, things were tied together pretty close narratively. You start getting out of there, I mean, you're getting introduced to new characters that really don't have much of a backstory to them. You don't, you're tied into this kind of prophecy thingy doodle or whatever the fuck it is. I wanted to hear more about the world, explain how the world is done, and there's a lot of notes or journals or whatever that are spread throughout. And it does paint an interesting picture, but the dynamic in this team that you're building, the stories behind them, it's like there's pieces missing. Like you just have to kind of put it together, what happened from the last cutscene to this cutscene. And it feels like some of the emotions that they're trying to are trying to force, they're not earned. A lot of the I don't want to spoil this. I don't want to spoil it because there is good stuff here, but somebody went through and just started blasting holes in the story, and now there's not enough interconnected threads for me to jump from one section to the other. There's not enough narrative threads between one piece of the story to the next. I really, really, really don't feel anything for these characters. I don't feel invested in these characters and these NPCs that they're giving me. There's a lot of I can't keep going back to it. It feels like somebody went through and chopped out parts of the story. And some of the sequences don't even freaking make sense. And the emotions, everything doesn't feel earned. There's a story there. There's really a good story there. But they don't connect it. They don't it doesn't flow. It's choppy and disconcerting, and it feels like each scene's trying to have you have an emotion or a feeling about something, and you're going like, what the fuck is this even about? What is this? And there's one character that's really freaking annoying because he's a one-note character. He says the same things, he has the same attitude. It's not endearing, it's annoying. It's Jacob. That guy is negativity personified. And it's not, kind of like a joking negativity. It's not it's just, after a while it gets very grating. Just hearing, exactly what he's going to say, or at least the tone in which he's going to say it. He doesn't have any real, it's always the same thing. He's not positive about a damn thing. He's a one note character. What's nice about characters is that they grow and they change, as they interact with you. There doesn't seem to be any growth. There doesn't seem to be a note of hope coming into this character, especially since you'll find out in the middle of the game. But there was something in the middle of the game that happened with that character that was supposed to generate some kind of feelings for him, and I didn't understand the cutscene at all. I understood what they were trying to do, but I didn't understand the some of the things that happened in that cutscene and the order in which they were done and how the characters did stuff in that scene. Anyway, it's chopped up. It's annoying. The other thing is the fucking enemies. They're stencils. They're stencils. You got two classes of enemies. You got monsters and you got humanoids. And within those two, you have variations on a theme. I am not kidding. Variations on a theme. The same character with a different skin. If you actually read some of the enemy notes, you will find that most of it is a copy pasta from the previous character with a little blurb underneath saying, oh, this one is slightly more difficult because of this, this, and this. But it's basically a rehash of something that you already fought in a different biome. It really is. It's not... It's very repetitive. You're like, okay, well, I'm finally out where I'm not going to see any more soldiers or any more things because you switch to a different biome. You're going farther than any other human has ever gone. So you're like, okay, I'm going to see some new monsters. Something new, something interesting. No. Same style of characters, just in a different skin. They do have a couple of additional powers, but it is not different enough for me to not notice how similar they are to their counterparts in the previous levels, in the previous biomes, previous parts of the story. It's repetitive. It's annoying. Maybe that's kind of the point of a looter shooter. I don't understand because, in Borderlands, you kind of got used to it. But there was an interconnected theme between all of them. They were all, scavengers and bandits, so it made sense that in this huge interconnected circle, they would have variations on a theme. You encounter the same kind of monster in different biomes. A monster that supposedly thrives in the radiation in the swamps of the first city is now perfectly comfortable going, swinging through the trees in the tropics. I don't know. I just think it's boring. I think the enemies are boring. They really are. The bosses are not bad. The bosses aren't bad, but you can kind of get a feel for when they're going to show up. It's not very it's not a very big surprise. What is a surprise is what exactly you're taking on, but it's not a surprise about when they appear. Everything in the whole story, the music, the waves of people, the waves of cannon fodder that you have, you kind of know where it's going. But again, this is my perspective for my first 16, 17 hours worth of playthrough on one character. Okay? So I am prefacing everything I'm saying with that. However, I don't think that I can be discounted because of I haven't completed the game yet. I think there's still a lot to be said for what I'm putting out there about this game. Now I'm all hot and bothered about this shit. Oh my god. I don't want to edit this. I don't want to edit this. Nobody watches my channel anyway, so who gives a fuck if I put the whole thing up there? Yeah, nobody watches my channel, so I'll just put it up there as an entirety, and people can deal with whatever the fuck they want with it. They can watch it, they can not watch it. I don't give a flying fuck. Let YouTube keep the storage on this one. Mr. Q, ow!